question is, what is ego? What is the place of ego? Now we can say that ego just means an identity. We say an identity. I am John Martin. It is an identity. I, associated with this name. You can say it is the ego, identity. I think everybody has this identity. Everybody has this identity. It is very necessary for functional relationships. So we need this identity. So we are relating with people with this identity. John Martin relating with Alan. It is one ego relating with the other ego. And but this identity plus desire becomes ego negatively. Because there is a movement of desire. I want to become this, I want to become this, I want to get this, I want to get that. Okay? So this identity plus desire, you can say another type of ego. And this is the problem. This is the problem. This is something, it can become negative. Okay? If it causes suffering to the others, difficult to the others, then it becomes negative.
Desire of something external.
External, yes. I want this, I want to become that, I want to get this object, I want to get this person, So it is a desire. Desire creates time, gap. What I am and what I want to become, what I want to get. And sometimes there can be desires which are natural desires and genuine desires. Okay, I want to eat my food, okay, because it's a natural desire, because I'm hungry and I want to have food. Okay, so there are certain desires which are natural, which need to be fulfilled. Okay, but if the desire becomes want, then it becomes negative. For example, you say I'm hungry, I want to eat. Okay, but if I say I want to eat the best food in the world, it's not a desire, it's a want. Where do you have the best food? Maybe there is no best food here in Priva, but I have to go to Valence. And somebody said there is the best food in Paris. This is a want, it's not a need. And so when the desire becomes a want, and then it causes problems to oneself and to the others. Okay, and but again we have to see also what is the source of desire. Because life is desire. We can say the world is desire, because the world is run by desire. Everybody is trying to fulfill their desires. And the world becomes a kind of playground for people to fulfill their desire. And Buddha said very clearly that it is a desire, there is no individual, there is no self, there is no permanent self as such. It's only desires what makes a person an identity. Okay, so the desire is the source of our life. And if we have no desires, so we all become like vegetables, if you like. And so this is very, very powerful. This desire is very, very powerful. It manifests in different directions. But traditionally they say there are three important directions through which this desire tries to manifest. One is desire for sensual pleasures, or connected with the body, with sexuality and all those things. And the other one is desire for wealth, money, accumulation of money, and the desire for power. Desire for sensuality and the desire for wealth and desire for... These are the three directions through which the desire, which is born of inner emptiness or ignorance, tries to focus. And they want to stop that one. And that is why in all spiritual traditions, there is this fight against this desire. In Buddhism, you have to stop this desire. Desire is the cause of suffering, and you have to stop this desire, and then you follow the Eightfold Path to stop this desire. And in Christianity, there are 3 vows a religious has to make. The vow of poverty, the vow of obedience, the vow of chastity, to control these desires. And for me, stopping the desires or controlling the desires is not the ultimate solution, because the more you try to stop them or control them, you create violence, inner violence, because you are fighting against
Frustration.
okay. And I think to understand what is the source of desire, from where this desire comes. And for me, these desires ultimately come from God's desire. And what is God's desire? God's desire is to manifest His divine attributes, love, compassion, sharing, and all those things in time and space. So if we understand that this desire, human desire, is really coming from the divine desire, but somehow cut off from that divine desire and taking its own direction, that causes suffering. And so by understanding that, if we are able to elevate these desires into the desire of God, and the desires are transformed. They no longer become a source of suffering or bondage or anything, but they become the source of joy, because through these desires we manifest divine life and share divine life, and life becomes a life of joy. Life becomes a life of joy. And so for me, this is what I also say, expanding our ego. Expanding our ego in the sense expanding our identity as the vehicle of the divine, and also expanding our desires as the desires of God. Not to suppress our desires, not to fight against our desires, but elevate them into the desire of God. Then the ultimate purpose of desire is fulfilled. And desire and time go together. Because desire creates time. Because without desire there is no time. Okay? And so the fulfillment of desire is also the fulfillment of time. So when Jesus said the time is fulfilled, it also means the desires are fulfilled. So it's fulfillment, not abolition of desires or fighting with the desires, but fulfillment of desires.
And for this, identity is very important.
Yes, identity is very, very important, because identity is the first, it is the whole creation is an identity, you can say, ego. The whole creation is a finite, because the finite is the door of the infinite. And through finite, the infinite manifests. And so, to this creation belongs our body. Our body is the part of this creation. And so the body is also the door of the infinite. Only thing is, in the human beings, this is done consciously. With the other creature, this happens unconsciously. But in the human beings, it becomes conscious realization.